imagine that somewhere in the sands of time, an immortal being once inscribed a message meant for humanity, a prophecy that would only reveal its full meaning in our present age. That being was Thoth, the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, the scribe of the gods, the keeper of cosmic law, and the guardian of hidden knowledge. For thousands of years, the teachings of Thoth have been whispered among secret orders, encoded in symbols, and passed down through mystery schools. But few truly understood that his words were not meant merely for the priests of Egypt or the philosophers of Greece. They were meant for us, for this exact moment in history. Think for a moment. What if the prophecies of Thoth, the same that inspired the Hermetic texts, the Emerald Tablets, and the very foundation of alchemy, are now unfolding before our eyes? What if the awakening of the children of light, he foretold, is happening in our generation? Stay with me until the end of this video, because in the final revelation, we will uncover the most profound and powerful truth of all, the one Thoth said would open the gates of the higher worlds and change the destiny of humankind. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to this channel, leave your like, and share this video with others who are seekers of truth. The revelations we are about to uncover might change the way you understand your life, your soul, and the universe itself. Thoth's prophecies were never about predicting external events. They were about describing cycles of consciousness. He revealed that humanity would fall into darkness, forget its divine origin, and then, after millennia of confusion, reawaken to its true nature as beings of light. According to ancient sources, every civilization passes through ages of spiritual decline and renewal. The Emerald Tablets describe this process as the rising and setting of the sons of light. Now think about what is happening today. Across the planet, people are feeling a strange restlessness, as if something deep within them is remembering an ancient calling. Spiritual awakening, consciousness expansion, and the search for hidden wisdom have become global phenomena. Could this be the very awakening Thoth predicted thousands of years ago? The Hermetic texts say, "When the darkness grows thickest, the light is born anew." We are living in an age where the shadows of greed, disconnection, and chaos seem to cover the earth. But according to Thoth, this darkness is not the end. It is the catalyst. It is the womb from which a new light will be born. Let us journey back to the time when Thoth walked among mortals. Ancient Egyptian tradition tells that he was not merely a myth, but a real being, a teacher from the stars, a master of time, and a guide of human evolution. The Greeks later called him Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes, for he mastered the three realms, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. Thoth's greatest work, the Emerald Tablets, was said to contain the formula of immortality and the key to divine transformation. Within its lines lies a cryptic prophecy that one day when humanity forgets its divine essence and becomes lost in material illusion, the tablets will call again to those ready to remember. And when that happens, the ancient wisdom will re-emerge to restore balance to the world. Doesn't that sound strikingly familiar? Today, this very text, long hidden, has reappeared, studied and discussed by millions. What once was buried in mystery is now spreading across the digital world. Ancient prophecies are being decoded, and people are rediscovering teachings that once only initiates could access. Could it be that we are the generation that Thoth foresaw, the children of the light who would rise at the end of the great cycle? Thoth wrote that the universe operates in cycles, great wheels of time that repeat endlessly. Each cycle brings a new dawn of consciousness. And he said, "Know, O man, that far in the future light shall again be made manifest." These words, written thousands of years ago, seem to echo our moment. But what exactly was Thoth's prophecy? And how could an ancient Egyptian sage foresee the spiritual transformation of humanity thousands of years in advance? To understand this, we must explore one of Thoth's most mysterious teachings, the concept of the Halls of Amenti. Hidden beneath the Great Pyramid, according to legend, lies a chamber where Thoth and the Masters of Light enter into a deep state of suspension between lives, guiding humanity from the unseen realms. From there, Thoth claimed to watch over the cycles of Earth, waiting for the time when the vibration of mankind would once again rise. Could this rise in vibration be what we are witnessing today? A global awakening of consciousness, an energetic shift in the collective mind of humanity? Everything suggests it. Even modern science, through the study of quantum fields and energy resonance, is beginning to hint at the truth that the ancients already knew, that consciousness and reality are interconnected. So, what does the prophecy truly say about this time we are living in? And what will happen to those who hear the call of Thoth in their hearts? We are about to explore the deeper meaning of this ancient revelation, one that may forever change how you see your purpose on earth. Thoth's prophecy begins with a simple yet profound declaration: all things are born of light. This single line, found in the Hermetic fragments and echoed through the emerald tablets, reveals the foundation of his message, that everything from the stars to the human soul originates from one source, the divine light. But over time, that light becomes hidden beneath layers of illusion, fear, and forgetfulness. Humanity, Thoth warned, would descend into an age of spiritual amnesia, the very darkness we have lived through for millennia. He described this descent as the cycle of the shadow. During this time, mankind would worship matter, mistake the body for the soul, and allow the illusion of separation to rule the earth. People would forget the inner temple and seek power only in the outer world. Sound familiar? Look around. This is the world we have inherited. A civilization obsessed with control, possessions, and appearances, while the sacred connection between spirit and matter fades into the background. But Thoth never spoke of darkness as evil. To him, darkness was the necessary womb of rebirth. He said that when the illusion reaches its peak, when humanity feels lost and divided, the children of the light would begin to remember. They would hear an inner voice calling them back to the source. And that call, he said, would mark the dawn of a new golden age. That awakening is happening right now. You can feel it in the collective consciousness, in the rising search for purpose, the hunger for truth, the rediscovery of ancient wisdom. Humanity is beginning to sense that the answers do not lie in politics, technology, or material wealth, but in the reawakening of the divine essence within. This was the prophecy of Thoth, that after the long night of forgetfulness, humanity would once again realize that it is not merely living in the universe, it is the universe made conscious. In the emerald tablets, Thoth describes his journey through the Halls of Amenti, a sacred space of timelessness beneath the earth, where he communed with the Lords of Light. He wrote that from there, he would return to guide mankind when the darkness has swallowed the light. Many esoteric scholars, such as Manly P. Hall, interpreted this as a symbolic prophecy, that Thoth, as an archetype of divine wisdom, would reawaken within human consciousness when the world needed it most. And indeed, in our time, the name of Thoth has returned to the surface. His teachings, long hidden in secret orders, are now being shared openly, as if the veil has lifted. Have you ever felt that strange sense of remembering something you never learned? A pull toward ancient symbols, a fascination with pyramids, stars, or sacred geometry? That resonance is not random. It is memory. It is the echo of Thoth's promise reverberating in your soul. For Thoth said, "In the hearts of men shall I plant the secret fire." That fire is awakening now, the inner light of consciousness that can no longer be silenced. But Thoth also warned that the transition would not be easy. The forces of shadow, ignorance, fear, and control would resist this awakening, seeking to maintain the illusion. He said that during the time of the Great Awakening, confusion would reign. Truth and falsehood would mix freely. People would lose trust in institutions, in systems, even in themselves. And through that chaos, the seeker would be tested to discern what is true by inner light, not outer authority. Do you see it happening? We are surrounded by misinformation, division, and spiritual disconnection. But Thoth's prophecy tells us not to fear this. It is the purging of the old cycle. The shadows rise because the light is returning. The ancient masters knew this truth. The darkness resists most fiercely when the dawn is near. In one of his most cryptic passages, Thoth wrote, "When men again become as gods, then shall the light return." To become as gods does not mean to gain power or dominance, but to remember the divine spark within, the creative consciousness that shapes reality. This is the moment we are entering now. Humanity is rediscovering its creative potential through thought, intention, and energy. Science calls it quantum coherence. Thoth called it the law of one. He taught that every human mind is a fragment of the universal mind, a reflection of the same creative intelligence that formed the cosmos. When a person aligns with that intelligence, they no longer feel separate from life. they become life itself. And this realization, he said, is the key that unlocks the higher worlds. The prophecy speaks of a time when the veil shall be lifted, and humanity will perceive dimensions beyond the physical. The signs are already visible: the expansion of consciousness, near-death experiences, synchronicities, and profound spiritual awakenings. Modern mystics, neuroscientists, and physicists are all converging on the same truth. Reality is far more than matter. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain. It is the foundation of existence itself. Thoth's ancient wisdom aligns perfectly with what cutting-edge science is now discovering. As the renowned physicist David Bohm once said, "Matter is frozen light." This echoes the Hermetic axiom, "all is light." What the ancients knew intuitively, modern science is only beginning to confirm: that everything in the universe is a vibration of a single consciousness. So when Thoth foretold the return of the light, he was not predicting the coming of an external savior. He was describing an internal awakening, the realization that the divine has always been within us. The savior is not coming to humanity. The savior is awakening inside humanity. We are the fulfillment of that prophecy. And yet, there is still a deeper layer of his revelation, one that few dare to contemplate. Thoth spoke of a final alignment, a moment when the cycles of heaven and earth would synchronize, opening a portal between worlds. According to the tablets, those who carry the vibration of light would pass into a higher realm of existence, while those bound by ignorance would remain in darkness until the next cycle begins. What could this mean for us today? Is this alignment merely symbolic, or is it a real cosmic event unfolding now? In the next part, we will dive into the heart of this mystery. We will uncover what the final alignment truly represents and how it connects to ancient prophecies, celestial cycles, and the awakening of human consciousness in our own time. In the hidden language of the Emerald Tablets, Thoth speaks of the final alignment as a sacred moment when the fires of heaven and the fires of earth shall unite as one. This mystical expression describes far more than an astronomical event. It represents the merging of spirit and matter, the reconciliation of heaven and earth within the human soul. When Thoth spoke of alignment, he meant harmony, the restoration of divine order both in the cosmos and within us. Many scholars, including R.A. Schwaller de Lubitsch and Graham Hancock, have noted that ancient Egyptian temples were aligned with celestial patterns that marked great cosmic cycles: the precession of the equinoxes, the rising of Sirius, and the motions of Orion's belt. These were not mere architectural coincidences. The ancients built their monuments as mirrors of the heavens, encoding within stone the rhythm of cosmic time. Thoth, as the master architect of sacred geometry, understood that every shift in the heavens corresponds to a shift in human consciousness. We now stand at the edge of such a shift. Modern astronomy confirms that we are moving through a rare galactic alignment, the same one the ancients called the opening of the Great Gate. As our solar system crosses the galactic plane, a stream of high-frequency energy floods the Earth. To Thoth, this energy was the light of renewal, descending from the higher realms to awaken the latent potential of the soul. Could this be the same cosmic event his prophecy described, the return of the celestial fire that ignites the next evolution of humanity? Think of what is happening now: the rise of global awareness, the acceleration of knowledge, the merging of science and spirituality. These are not random trends. They are signs of a species awakening from spiritual sleep. Thoth foresaw this moment, writing, "When the children of men remember their light, the veils shall fall, and the gods shall walk again among them." The gods, in this context, are not external beings descending from the sky, but higher states of consciousness reawakening within humanity itself. For millennia, humanity's perception has been confined to the material world. But as Thoth predicted, the borders between the visible and the invisible are dissolving. More people are sensing energies, receiving intuitive insights, and experiencing synchronicities that defy logic. What was once considered mystical is becoming natural. The dimensions that Thoth described are no longer inaccessible realms. They are frequencies that the awakened heart can perceive. According to Hermetic philosophy, each soul carries within it the seed of the divine. When that seed is activated through wisdom and inner balance, the individual begins to vibrate in harmony with the higher worlds. Thoth said, He who awakens the flame within shall rise beyond the stars. This was not a poetic metaphor. It was a literal description of spiritual ascension, of consciousness moving into subtler planes of reality. The final alignment, therefore, is the convergence of inner and outer transformation. It is the moment when the cosmic clock strikes a new hour, and the souls prepared through lifetimes of learning awaken fully to their divine purpose. The ancient texts refer to these souls as the keepers of the flame, beings who will anchor the light of the new cycle into the physical world. They are artists, healers, scientists, and ordinary people guided by extraordinary intuition, perhaps even you, listening now. Thoth warned that before the dawn, humanity would face a great testing. The material structures of the old world would crumble. Systems based on greed, control, and deception would collapse under their own weight. Many would see this as destruction, but Thoth called it purification, the cleansing of the temple before the return of light. Only that which is pure shall stand in the new age, he said, and purity, in his definition, meant clarity of heart and unity of spirit, not moral perfection. So when we see chaos around us, economic upheaval, environmental crises, social conflict, we are witnessing not the end, but the transformation. The serpent of matter sheds its skin. Humanity is being reborn. Thoth wrote that this transition would be guided by those who have remembered, who would serve as bridges between worlds. Their task is not to preach or dominate, but to hold the vibration of truth and love so powerfully that others begin to resonate with it. Are you beginning to sense how profound this prophecy truly is? It is not a prediction carved in stone, but a living instruction, a call to awaken. Thoth's words were never meant to be worshipped. They were meant to be activated within the consciousness of those ready to hear them. And here lies one of the greatest secrets he revealed. Man's destiny is to become the sun. The ancients revered the sun not only as a celestial body, but as a symbol of divine consciousness. To become the sun is to radiate light consciously, to illuminate the darkness within and without. When enough human beings embody this solar awareness, the collective vibration of Earth itself changes. This is the true alchemy of the soul, the transmutation of human limitation into divine realization. Notice how this mirrors the teachings of other traditions. The Hindu Upanishads declare, "Thou art that." The Gospel of Thomas says, "When you make the two one, you will become sons of man. And when you say mountain move, it will move." The message is universal. Enlightenment is not escape from the world, but the illumination of it. The prophecy of Thoth, therefore, is not a distant myth. It is the living blueprint of our evolution. It describes the exact process by which the human species transforms into a being of light, a bridge between heaven and earth. The final alignment is happening not in some faraway future, but now within the hearts of those who choose to awaken. Yet Thoth left a final warning. He said that if humanity resists the light, if it clings to fear and separation, the cycle will repeat. The wheel will turn again and the opportunity will be lost for another age. The choice, he said, lies not in the stars, but in the human heart. The gate to higher worlds is open, but only those who remember their true essence can pass through it. In the next part, we will explore the ultimate revelation of the prophecy, the hidden message Thoth left for those living in our time. We will uncover the ancient key to mastering the light within, the same key that leads to immortality and divine union. And this final truth, Thoth promised, would liberate the soul from the wheel of time itself. Thoth's final revelation begins where human understanding ends. In the closing lines of the Emerald Tablets, he speaks not of gods or galaxies, but of the divine essence within every soul. He writes, "Man is a star bound to a body until, through light, he is freed." This is the deepest layer of his prophecy, the promise of liberation, not through death, but through awakening. It is the remembrance that every human being carries within a fragment of the eternal sun, the same fire that gave birth to the stars. When Thoth speaks of immortality, he does not mean physical perpetuity. He means conscious immortality, the realization that your essence has never been born and can never die. To awaken to this truth is to step outside the wheel of time. Thoth calls this state the freedom of the light. He taught that when humanity collectively remembers this truth, the illusion of separation will dissolve. and the earth itself will ascend into a higher octave of existence. But how do we reach this state? How do we embody the light that Thoth promised? He left a simple but powerful instruction. Seek within the light of thy soul. Know that the gateway to infinity lies within. For thousands of years, humanity sought God in temples, in texts, in the heavens, never realizing that the true temple is the human heart. Thoth revealed that the body is a vessel designed to contain divine consciousness, and the mind is the bridge that unites the visible and the invisible. When both are aligned through wisdom and love, the fire of Thoth, the flame eternal, ignites within. In this sacred state, perception changes. The world no longer appears as random or hostile, but as a living tapestry of divine intelligence. Every challenge becomes an initiation, every encounter a reflection of the soul. This is what Thoth meant when he wrote, "All things are but the manifestation of the One." When you see the One in all, you awaken as a co-creator of reality. You no longer wait for prophecy to unfold, you become its fulfillment. The prophecy of Thoth, therefore, was never a warning of doom. It was a roadmap for awakening. He foresaw a time when humanity would awaken to the realization that it creates reality through thought, feeling, and intention. Modern science now echoes this truth through the quantum principle of observer influence, the idea that consciousness shapes the field of potential. Thoth taught this millennia ago when he said, "As you think, you become." This is why he also cautioned that the final phase of awakening would be both wondrous and perilous. As the power of creation returns to human awareness, so does the responsibility that comes with it. Whatever humanity focuses upon will magnify, whether light or shadow. And so Thoth urged the awakened ones to guard their minds and hearts, for in the new age, thought itself becomes a creative act. He said, "Hold your thoughts upon light, for thought is the key that opens the gates of creation." This was not a metaphor, it was instruction. He revealed that the universe responds not to words, but to vibration, to the frequency of consciousness. When we align our thoughts, emotions, and intentions with harmony, we become conduits of divine power. This is the essence of the Hermetic law of correspondence. As above, so below. It is the technology of creation that modern humanity is only beginning to rediscover. Think of it. Every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, radiates energy that shapes reality. You are not a passive observer in this prophecy. You are its living instrument. The prophecy unfolds through you. Each act of love, each moment of awareness, each intention of healing ripples outward into the collective field, transforming the whole. This is what Thoth meant when he said, "The light shall return through those who remember." You are one of those who remember. You would not be drawn to these words otherwise. Deep within you, there is an ancient knowing, an echo of the time when humanity walked with the gods, when every thought was creation and every word was truth. That memory is awakening now, not as fantasy, but as destiny. The ultimate message of Thoth is empowerment through remembrance. He reminds us that salvation is not something to be given, but something to be remembered. You are already divine. The light you seek has never been lost. It has only been forgotten beneath the noise of the world. And the moment you remember who you are, you fulfill the prophecy. In this age of revelation, the words of Thoth return not as myth, but as mirror. Humanity stands at the threshold of two realities, one ruled by fear and the other by awakened light. The choice is being made every day, in every thought, in every heart. The old world of separation trembles, while the new world of unity is born through those who dare to embody the divine. Ask yourself, which world are you creating with your consciousness right now? Are you feeding the illusion of darkness, or are you radiating the light that Thoth foresaw? Remember, the prophecy is not happening to us, it is happening through us. Thoth's final words in the tablets are among the most powerful ever written. Light, O man, is the heritage of the divine. Darkness is only a shadow cast by the light. Seek always for the light. Know that as light fills thee, darkness shall fall before thee. This is the promise and the challenge of our time. The prophecy is unfolding now, not in temples or scriptures, but in the consciousness of every awakened soul. Humanity's next evolution is not technological, it is spiritual. The real revolution is internal, the shift from fear to remembrance, from separation to unity, from sleep to awakening. So as you finish this journey, take a breath and remember, you are not a spectator of the prophecy of Thoth. You are the living continuation of it. The same light that guided the ancient sages burns within you. It has never faded. It has only awaited your recognition. Awaken to it. Live from it. And as Thoth himself declared, "Rise from the earth, O flame of the soul, and be free." The time he spoke of is not coming. It has already begun. Thanks for looking.